So, Vanakkam, Slamat Padang. So, Vanakkam is good evening in English. Vanakkam, Tamil is my mother tongue, and it's really interesting that Tamil is also an official language in Singapore. So, it's great to be here. And I think I need the. Yeah, so it's great to be here, and it's a great multicultural society, Singapore, so it's a pleasure. So first off, I want to say thank you. Thanks to the Meet Magento team. Thanks to Ranosis. Thanks to Rameshwar Vyas for this awesome opportunity to be speaking here and also to be present at Meet Magento Singapore. Best practices and B2B e-commerce with Magento. So this is what we are going to be looking at on this session, and this is what we are going to learn. So this is a very, very common thing I've actually seen people do, right? So my site is not generating enough revenue. So that's a common thing when you talk to a merchant, or let's say if you're an agency partner and you're working with a merchant, one of the common things you hear from them, or this is another thing which we have seen quite often, right? So there is a new CIO who gets hired into a company, or there could also be a new manager who's brought in from another company to this new company, and they are tasked with, hey, my site is not generating revenue, so that's why I hired. So oftentimes, what do? At least about 50% of the time, we have seen this. Let's change platforms. So my site is not generating revenue. I'm on X platform. Hey, that platform is not going to work. I'm going to move to the Y platform. It could be any platform for that matter. But that's probably not the best approach, right? So based on wherever you are, depends on whatever business you are in. Let's say you're an agency partner assisting a merchant, or you're a merchant, you are tasked with building up a new e-commerce platform or fixing the problem of not generating revenue. One of the first things you need to do is define your goals. Find out what exactly you're looking to do and what are you looking to achieve by doing this, right? So what are the goals? It doesn't matter on what stage of the platform or replatforming process you are on. So it's very, very important to define goals on what you're looking to achieve. So another important thing is to just keep it simple. I think that thing here is not pulling up. So let's say you're building a house, keep it extremely simple. You don't really have to complicate things too much, and never take more than what you can chew. So one of the easy things you can do is, let's not try to do everything together. This is another common thing which we see merchants do is, hey, I'm going to start doing e-commerce platform. Let's say I'm going to do a Magento 2.3 commerce implementation. And one of the things they usually do is, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. These are the list of extensions I need. The customer has a predefined notion of the list of things they would need. And that's, again, not really an exciting approach. So it's very, very important to keep things extremely simple. So this is something, which I've seen one of our customers do, and this is something we also learn from. One of our customers, MDS HVAC, they're based in Atlanta. So they launched Magento 2.3 platform. And one of the things they did is they actually trained their customers. And they also kept it extremely simple. I was actually amazed with how they launched it. It is more on the customer, right? As much as the partner is involved, the customer also needs to be more involved than the partner for the commerce launch to be successful. And if you look at this particular customer, what they did, the company MDS HVAC, they kept it extremely simple. And this is something, which happens quite a bit in the B2B space. If you look at it, they don't launch, let's say you will have thousands and thousands of customers. But what this customer did is they just launched it with, let's say, 5 customers, right? 5 of their customers are going to use the platform. And then you train those 5 customers on how to actually use Magento. Can you believe it? So this customer is going on site, and training them how to use the platform. And that actually paid great dividends because they're able to place more orders. That actually helps in generating more revenue as well. And iterate and change. So this is another key constituent, right? So let's say, for example, you are building the e-commerce platform and you're done with it, and then you launch it with the first set of 5 or 10 customers. And after you launch it, you keep changing, right? So customer feedback is like gold. So every time you get feedback from the customer, you see, hey, what do I need to do better? What should I be changing? And you keep changing whatever, based on the feedback you get. That will be a better approach. Data is money, right? So everybody here in the audience, by the very fact that you are here, understand that a lot. So by show of hands, right? So how many of you in the audience use data or leverage data to make your decisions? How many of you use data? Okay. So that's a fairly okay number, right? So if you think about it, let me show you an example of what data can do. So you have 3 warehouses, right? So this is a very, very common thing in B2B. You'll have multiple warehouses. So you have 3 warehouses here. And let's assume that each of these, this is actually a study and a research which was done by JDA. So there are about 140 associates in the first warehouse. There are 80 associates in the second warehouse. And you have another 50 associates in the third warehouse. So altogether, you have about 270 associates in total. Look at this. Assuming that the average rate you pay them is about $21 an hour, US, and each associate works about 40 hours a week, 52 weeks in a year, and the yearly payroll is about $11.7 million. All right, so this is just numbers, simple math. But then, look at this. A mere 5% increase in productivity of these associates across all these 3 different warehouses could result in more than $500,000 of saving for the company. So this is amazing. So it's extremely critical for you to make sure that, let's say you're an agency partner working with a merchant, or you're a merchant, look at the data. Look at what you can provide the customer. And obviously, if you show numbers like this, anybody is going to listen to you because this is money. Product content, right? So this is something, everybody understands here in the room. And product content is probably the number one thing you would need to do even before you even launch an e-commerce platform, right? So e-commerce platform is everything, but then, the product content is even more important than the e-commerce platform itself. So Magento 2 actually offers a great way where you can actually manage the product content. So I was listening to one of the presenters early in the morning, and that was actually a great advice. First, look at what Magento is offering. How many of you have actually logged into the admin panel and looked at all the different things Magento offers? So that's probably the first thing. If you have not done that, you do that, that's awesome. So if you have not done that, I think that's one of the first key things you would need to do. And if you're using a PIM solution like a product information management, I think that's going to help as well. But then, by default, Magento comes with a default list of features. So make sure you log into your admin panel and manage your content. So marketing, right? So we talked about revenue, and especially everybody loves revenue, everybody loves money. So marketing is a very, very key constituent of what you're trying to do. So you can even manage marketing within Magento, on the admin panel, right? So if you go to the marketing tab, there are a list of things that Magento provides. And this is something I would highly encourage that you explore and see how that works. Of course, there are multiple marketing automation platforms, some great platforms as well. Digital is here. But one of the things, even before you try that, I think if you look at all this native functionality of Magento, you will understand marketing better, and you will also know the limitations of what Magento has to offer. So then you will probably appreciate the marketing automation platform a lot more. And then that will make more sense for you to upgrade to a marketing automation platform. Or if you're a complicated business or you need to do a lot more in marketing, you may even need to go for a marketing automation platform in the first place. So what do B2B customers want, right? So this is a very simple thing. So today, if you really look at it, what do customers want? So everybody here, right, including you and me, are looking for a low effort experience. What exactly is a low effort experience? Essentially, simplifying the buying process, right? So just buying with ease is a low effort experience. So you really don't have to think too much, hey, I need to make this order, or I need to go buy that or buy this. It's extremely simple to order, and that's what a low effort experience is. Right, I'm actually going to give you an example of one low effort experience I like a lot. So how many of you in the audience use Expedia? Yeah, so that's actually a great travel site, right? If you travel a lot, Expedia is an amazing site. So essentially, right, so let's say I'm here in Singapore this week, and I'm staying at a hotel, and 6 months down the line, I am visiting Singapore again. I don't really have to think where I stayed. I just go to expedia.com, and then I just rebook the trip. Hey, this is where I stayed last time. So it gives me a history of the places I stayed. I choose this hotel, and I'm also able to repeat the trip, and I'm also able to repeat the trip with changes. Let's say, if there are a couple of other people traveling with me, I want to add an additional room. I'm able to repeat the trip with changes. And more importantly, I also like to pay on Expedia because it's easy and all my information is there. And after I go to the hotel to check in, I don't have to take my credit card and swipe and everything, right? So it's a hassle and it's an extremely easy process. So like that, you have to replicate that kind of an experience. So whenever you think of travel, then you look at you don't really look at other options, right? So you just go to Expedia, hey, I'm done. So some of the low effort experiences which can be applied on the B2B space. View invoices. If you look at it, you're able to pretty much go online and look at all the invoices, and that's an important constituent you need to have, right? So you have the view invoices, and then you also have an ability to pay because you need money, and the customer sees the invoice, and you click the pay button. And for this, your ERP also needs to be integrated with your Magento platform. View the order history, right? So especially, if you're a customer, I want to look at the orders I placed, and I also want to repeat the order with the changes. Let's say today I order a quantity of 100 on a B2B business, and tomorrow I would need to order let's say 200. I'm able to repeat the order with changes. And another thing, which is not mentioned here on this slide is in terms of the low effort experience, which is not mentioned here, is rewriting your website content. We already talked about content a little bit earlier, but that's actually a very, very low-hanging fruit. If you're able to rewrite your website content, you are going to make your user experience better. And another key thing to that process, right? So every time a customer complains, so you have an opportunity, right? So be happy about it because that's customer feedback is gold, and you document that learning and keep updating the content on a regular basis. So every time a customer calls your customer service personnel, collate all that information together. Hey, this customer is asking about this. The other customer is asking about something else. And you collate all that information together, and then you're able to rewrite the website content based on customer feedback. That's actually a very, very low-hanging fruit, and you'll be able to drive more revenue. This is an interesting slide. A need for customer service actually drives disloyalty. So you have, if your customer needs to contact your customer service, then that means the customer is not really happy, right? So what can you do to make it better? Just a little while ago, right, I talked about, hey, you need to update your content, you need to do a lot of different things. So if any customer is calling your customer service team, really look at it. Why are they calling? What can I be doing better to make sure that they don't call me again and everything is seamless, and that is actually a low effort experience. And one more thing. I started off this presentation with revenue, and I'm also going to end it with revenue. So if you really think about it, right? So your work actually starts, doesn't matter if you're a merchant or if you're an agency, your work actually starts after you launch the site, right? So it doesn't end there, right? So oftentimes, right, especially merchants and even developers, you work so hard, you have sleepless nights, you get the site launched, it doesn't work, and then, there are a lot of things which goes on, fires burn, you launch it, and after you launch it, no orders come in, hey, I'm not happy with my platform, let's change it again, right? So it doesn't work that way. So the most important thing is your work. You have to actually educate your customers as well. So if you're an agency, you need to educate them, hey, do not expect anything. So set the expectations correctly, right? You have to invest in marketing. You have to invest in low-effort experience for your customer, and then prepare the customer. Or if you're an agency, prepare the customer. Hey, do not expect orders. These are things you need to do. And let's focus on marketing. What can we do for marketing? What are the things you need to do? So set the expectations right. And also that way, the customer also has a budget and you're able to generate more revenue. So that's all I have. And thank you so much for this opportunity again. And I don't know if we have time for Q&A, but if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer. All right, it's all clear? All right, thank you.